Huge week coming up in the stock market this week, guys. And in this video, I want to be discussing what we have upcoming in the markets this week. We have big news events. We have big tech earnings. And also it's the week before the US presidential elections. So a huge week in the markets. And I want to make this video and dive into the charts to explain my thoughts on what I think is going to be happening in the markets this week. So let's dive straight into it, guys. Okay, so as you can see, we have the Bitcoin chart here. And last week, if you watched my video from last week, I told you guys I expected a pullback into $64,000 range. We haven't closed the week today. I'm shooting this video on Sunday, the 27th of October. We haven't closed the week yet, but I expect obviously this is it's going to close a red on the week, negative week on Bitcoin. And if you watched my video from last week, that's what I expected. I expected Bitcoin to dump towards the $64,000, $64,500 region. We didn't quite get there. We got to 65,150-ish. Okay, we didn't quite dip as low as I was expecting, but nonetheless, once again, the prediction was pretty accurate. I took this short trade off this daily naked point of control, still holding 50% of that position, and I am happy to take I get stopped out on this. Okay, if Bitcoin decides to pump this upcoming week, I'm happy to be break even on the rest of my position, be break even, because for me, I'm a long-term holder of Bitcoin, and any major resistances that I find on the charts is when I open short positions, because I want to be hedged against any potential downside. Okay, so if Bitcoin decides to come down, I'm still protected. I am still in the short position. So either way, I'll be happy. Okay, if we come down, and if we take this down to a daily, we've still got that imbalance. We didn't quite get into the imbalance, but Bitcoin might decide to come down here, revisit this level one more time before the rise in price. Okay, well, first of all, before I analyze any potential technical analysis, we've reviewed what we thought was going to happen. We've got this dip last week, so that was correct. I took 50% off my position here, and now this week, upcoming week that we're going to have in the markets is very unpredictable, guys. All right. And the reason why it's unpredictable is because, number one, it's 1 week before the US presidential elections, and the polls suggest that the race is really tight, and obviously whoever wins does affect stock market performance. Okay, a lot of economists, they believe a Trump win will be positive for the stock market, because he will just print a lot more money than the Dems or the Kamala would. So they view Trump victory as a lot more positive. For me, though, to be honest with you, I don't think it matters as much as what a lot of people think it does. I think if you look at it structurally, I think the US will continue printing dollars, because they have to refinance the debts that they're in. Okay, and those debts are a heavy interest rate, because obviously the interest rates over the past 2 years have been going higher. So the refinance on those debts, the debts that they owe to the public, are going to be very expensive. Okay, so and the only way, because they can't make that money from GDP and taxes, so the only other way that they can finance those debts is for the Federal Reserve to continue injecting liquidity into the markets to keep the US from defaulting and keep the markets stable. So I don't think that narrative will change under any of the presidential candidates. However, for crypto, I know Trump is pro crypto, so I think long-term targets, I think that could affect the longevity of the bull market if we get a Trump victory as opposed to a Democratic victory. I do think how high Bitcoin can go eventually in this cycle, that could have an effect. So we are 1 week away. This is the penultimate week before the elections. And also, guys, we have Apple, Microsoft. We have, I think, we already had Amazon, Apple, and AMD's reporting this week. So big tech earnings are this week, guys. Okay, so massive week for earnings, and depending on those earnings, they are going to move the markets. It's because they carry 5 of the big 7 are reporting earnings this week, and they make up 27% of the S&P 500. So they are going to have a major impact on the way the price moves this week, guys. Okay. So we also have big tech earnings. And if you saw Tesla reported earnings this week's, they reported, and they blew earnings, and that we got a little divergence. Nasdaq was pumping, S&P didn't quite pump as much, but Tesla was really driving the markets higher. It was really driving these markets higher. For me, it looked like the markets wanted to come down. Okay, it looked like the markets wanted to come down, but because of that earnings report of Tesla, they kind of held the market higher. Tesla pumped 20%, okay, which is insane. So, yeah, I think Tesla kept the markets from falling further. I did expect a little bit of a further downside on the markets, but we didn't get it because of Tesla, and that can happen again with the earnings. However, market's very sensitive. For me, the market looks very sensitive. It appears that the market wants to come down. It's getting a little bit heavy, in my opinion, and it feels like the market does want to correct a little bit. Okay, it doesn't mean that it wants to come down 10%, maybe 5-6% before starting to go back to Santa rally and stuff like that. But I do expect the market, if we get if earnings come in well, but guidance comes in softer than expected, then I think that can have a big effect on the markets. But if bad earnings, that will definitely have a big effect on the markets. Okay, so market's very sensitive here. Not only that, we have big week of economic data, guys. Tuesday, JOLTS, job openings. Okay, GDP on Wednesday, core PCE on Thursday, non-farm payrolls and unemployment with ISM PMIs on Friday. So huge week of economic events. And to be honest with you, calling this upcoming week and the week after, then the week after we've got obviously the presidential elections, and also we've got the FOMC. Okay, so to try and predict what's going to happen in these next 2 weeks is going to be a very difficult job. Okay, but we can go back and look at some historical data, what happened in prior elections. If we go back and look at Bitcoin, let's see how Bitcoin performed 1 week before the presidential elections. Okay, so if we go back to 2016, this was 2016. Okay, the elections in 2016. So the week prior, okay, this is the week after elections, but the week prior, in 2016, the market pumped on Bitcoin. The market pumped 11%. and then election week also higher. So just those 2 weeks, the week prior and on the week of the elections, we got a move of 16.5%, okay, which is crazy, okay, in 2016. Now let's have a look in 2020 what the market did. So we have, okay, so it was this one. This one was the prior week before the elections, and this was the election week. And again, you can see huge moves on Bitcoin, okay? 24%, okay? Even the week after and the week, this just kept going after that, after the elections. But it was a little bit of a different environment with the, Federal Reserve pumping in crazy amount of liquidity. However, this week was very, 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 these weeks were before, during, after, crazy pumps. We only got a correction, a small correction after pumping 50%, okay? But the 2 weeks prior, we pumped 25%, guys, okay? 25%. So let's say an average of 16 and 25, say 20%, okay, is your average over the last 2 presidential elections. So say we close here today, this week, and we pump 20%, that will take us to $81,000, guys, okay? $81,000. I would not be surprised. I have said we'll see all-time highs on Bitcoin before elections, and we could get all-time highs before elections, especially if we get good economic data. Good meaning softer, okay? Something along the lines that says the US economy is not as strong and the Fed will cut rates, maybe something along those lines. And good earnings, maybe this goes to all-time highs. But one key difference I want you guys to take a look at here, we got divergence between the index and Bitcoin, especially these the week prior and the week on the week of the presidential election. If we look at S&P 500, the week before the election and the election week. This is election week, this one. So the week prior, we saw a big move down on the S&P 500, and election week we got a big pump. We corrected the whole move. So 2020, big move down on S&P 500. This was, let's take a look at this. This was a minus 6% week on the S&P. Big week, okay? And then we got a big, after the election, I think the market was pretty happy with the Biden win, and it got 7.5% the following week pump. But we got a big drop. 6% is a big drop on the S&P 500. If we look in 2016, the election, so yeah, this was your election week. This was the election week, guys. The week prior, we got a big move down. And the week in 2016, the election week was very, very bearish, right? S&P 500 fell 3.5% in 2016 after the 2 weeks, after the elections were out of the way. Market wants wants clarity. Once we got clarity, we started moving massively to the upside. So I think something similar to this can happen again. Like I said, the markets, same thing happened. I'm not going to go back on NASDAQ because I already checked this, but we got the same thing happen on NASDAQ and the S&P 500. and I believe that something like that, maybe a negative 2 or 3% on the S&P 500. We did get a pullback on S&P 500. If you watched my video from last week, that's what I expected. We've come and filled this fair value gap, or this imbalance. Very, very nice. Okay, and started moving higher off this. However, Friday was quite bearish for S&P 500, but bullish for Nasdaq. Nasdaq actually got a decent day. We got a big gap up on Nasdaq. We closed red, but we got a big gap up. It was the stronger index on Friday, so we had a little bit of a divergence between the two indexes. Nonetheless, you know, it looks to me as if the S&P 500 wants to come down a little bit. Okay, it does want to come down, and I would not be surprised to see a drop. My opinion, if I look at this from a technical standpoint, it's a 50-50 call at this point with the amount of economic data and news that we have this week. But if I was to call this one way or another, and looking back at historical performance of the market during before and during the election weeks, I would expect the market to come down, at least towards all this support. Okay, I would expect to see a pullback on the markets, because market do not like uncertainty, and we are very, very uncertain in regards to who is going to win this election. So this would be around a 2% drop on the S&P 500. We could get down and fill this gap. If you see this gap here, we have a gap. So that would be pretty nice if the market came down and filled it. That would present for me a long opportunity on this. If I was to put a anchored weave up from here, yeah, so it comes, the anchored weave up is around this support level. But if I pull this from this low, then yeah, you know, this level, very, very nice level. All right, and if I pull a fib level on here, yeah, so that would be pretty nice, right? That would be pretty nice. You've got some confluence coming in here. If I had to pull a fixed range from bottom to top, we've also got this volume profile. You can see we've got the volume. So we've got volume here, and if it comes into this section, if it loses the point of control here, then obviously I'm expecting this. Okay, that would be really nice. That would present a really nice long opportunity for all-time highs going into you know, end of November, December, to start propelling the markets to new highs. Okay, that's what I'm expecting, guys. All right, I'm expecting the markets to come down on the new highs going into the you know, back end of Q4, Santa rally and stuff like that. All right, markets are very, very bullish normally after once, you know, we've got the elections out of the way and stuff like that. But this week, I would love the market to come down here, guys. All right, that would be a fantastic long opportunity. This obviously is an imbalance as well, but we do have volume here. We do have volume. All right, so for me, this is not as important, if you want to put it like that. Not as important, but we've got value very low here. We've got the weave up, and we've got some fib level, so very, very strong. You know, this might not hold. This point of control, it might not hold, guys. Okay, you can get a bounce. You can trade this. We've got, you know, big volume. We can trade this or a day trade, but we might do this. Okay, yeah, something along those lines. That's what I'm looking for, and I will be a buyer. I will be a buyer, big buyer at these prices. All right, I'll be a big buyer, and that would present a nice 5% correction on the S&P 500. And every time S&P 500 corrects 5% in a bull market, I am going to be a buyer of the S&P 500 at 5%. And if we get some nice discounts on some of the stocks, then I will be sending out the alerts in my group. And if you want access to those, link is in the description. Completely free. Come and be a part of a great community. I am trading markets. I'm day trading markets every day. This is obviously the analysis I do here is from a longer, higher time frame. But the day-to-day analysis, I use order flow and footprint data to make my daily, daily biases, daily trading decisions. I am a scalp trader and a day trader, so I am trading ES futures and Nasdaq futures, NQ futures every day with my group, and we are doing fantastically well in these markets, okay, because we are using a superior software and superior tools than your normal average retail investor or retail trader, okay. So retail traders are using candlesticks. They're not even using this stuff, and this stuff is not even complicated. This is very basic stuff, and they're not even using stuff like this, okay. They're using candlesticks, and they're just using retail chart patterns, which I can sit here and tell you are not going to be successful, guys. All right, retail chart patterns are not going to bring you success in the long term with day trading. You can do long-term investing with retail trading tools, patterns and stuff like that, but if you want to do that, you're going to have to incorporate some of the stuff that I'm going through here, okay. You want to have knowledge of what's going on in the markets, okay. Show a genuine interest in markets, show a genuine interest in how economics works, how the US controls the world, okay. You want to know these things because they affect the markets a lot, all right, guys. Economic events, macro analysis. If you want to know more about where I learn my stuff from, come and be a part of the group. If you enjoy the content that I'm giving you, please hit that subscribe button, hit a like. It really, really helps if you want to stay tuned with future videos. I'm going to be releasing more videos on I'm going to dive deeper into the way I day trade. I want to be going over order flow and footprint stuff and bookmap and level 2 DOM, all these things, all these great tools that we have at our disposal. I will be going through, and I will be talking and elaborating more on how I exactly day trade. So stay tuned for those videos. So interesting week coming up. Very, very, very interesting week. I'm really, really pumped up for this week. I'm really looking forward to it. Will we get a divergence between crypto and the stock markets? It's possible, guys. It's very, very possible that Bitcoin does its own thing and the markets come down. So we could have the correlation could be off this week, guys. All right, so take that into consideration. I'm not putting on any long-term trades until I see my levels, and the level I'm looking at on SPX. If we get here, I'll be a buyer of the S&P 500, similar to Nasdaq. All right, Nasdaq, coming down and filling same gap. All right, we've got the same gap here, and if we pull the VWAP, comes right into it, doesn't it? Yeah. All right, you see that. And I've not even done this prior to making this video, guys. All right, I haven't done any of this analysis prior to doing this video. So this is live analysis that I'm doing for you guys. If we get here, I will be buyer. All right, all-time highs into November and December. Okay, guys, this is a big area of support for Nasdaq. This is where I expect the market to come to next. Okay, if we get really good earnings and economic events favors the markets, investors like what they're hearing on the economic front, then market could just pump to all-time highs. However, you know, we have to look at statistics and what is upcoming. We're going to have a volatile week, and volatility presents great opportunities for us, especially day traders in the market. So yeah, I'm really pumped up for this week. I'm really looking forward to this week. However, be wary of these events, okay? Economic events, I don't think we have much on Monday, so I expect a little bit of a, you know, slower Monday, and then we get into the earnings and we get into the economic stuff, the news. Okay, so big week in the markets. I'm really looking forward to trading the markets, but be careful out there. Don't over leverage, okay, because this is a week that could blow up, and historically blows up many of traders' accounts, okay, because you're going to see volatility. You're going to get massive pumps in both directions. All right, so let the news settle, and then, you know, look to try and place your day trades. That's the way I trade. Be calm, be collective, wait for the opportunities, to come to you before you execute. Do not rush and chase the market. The market is always there for you guys. Okay, so take your time, be patient, and you got to execute like a sniper. Okay, when you see your entry, you trust your method and you go in. Okay, but if you want to learn more about how to day trade, the investments that we are doing, we have a great portfolio of investments. The crypto, we're investing in crypto all the time. Okay, new coins, when to invest in Bitcoin, all these things, all this education. We also have a course on our website. Head over there if you want to learn how to trade and be a part of a wonderful community. All right, anyways, this video is getting a little bit longer than expected, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you take something away from this video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe out there, traders. Peace.